What's up, sports bettors? It's Matt Modak here with OddsJam, coming to you with my WNBA best bets for tomorrow, Tuesday, August 23rd. So we only have one game going on tomorrow. We have two games left in this first round series. For tomorrow's game, which I will be previewing, is the Chicago Sky versus the New York Liberty. So this is game 3, do or die. This game is being played in New York, so huge advantage for the lower seed New York Liberty here. Thanks to them winning game 1, they, at worst, we're going to have a home game to clinch out the series. But with that said, looking at the odds here, the Sky, unsurprisingly, heavy favorites. So the best odds you can get on the Sky are at minus 285 on PlayUp. That's actually not a bad value, getting them at 285. No other book is giving you better odds than minus 300. So this minus 285 on PlayUp actually, like I said, is a pretty decent value. Now, personally, I'm not touching anything minus 285 unless I'm putting it in some sort of parlay. Then I definitely think it's worth it. For now, I'm going to go ahead and leave the money line alone. And then on the Liberty side, not seeing any value there. Of course, all these odds I'm pulling from the OddsJam software. So just go to sports, WNBA basketball, and then you highlight to the game. So now looking at the point spread, a little bit more value if you want to back the Sky. So they are, depending where you look, 6.5, 7.5 point favorites. Majority of books have them at about 6.5, but with majority of books except for 2 on Caesars and on PlayUp, juicing it towards the Chicago Sky at minus 6.5. BetMGM and PointsBet have that the minus 6.5 side at minus 115. Tipico has it at minus 125. BetOnline, another sharp sportsbook that we use to kind of compare lines. Them, obviously the OddsJam line is the sharpest, has it favoring the Chicago Sky at 6.5. The OddsJam line is also favoring the Sky at minus 7. And it isn't until we get to a full point higher where we start to favor the Liberty. So there is a little bit of value if you wanted to take the Chicago Sky minus 6.5 on Caesars or PlayUp. If you do, I would just recommend about a half unit on it. I wouldn't break the bank here. I do admit, makes me a little nervous with this game being played in the Liberty, in New York, a home game for the Liberty. If you look at the stats, the Liberty are one of the worst rated teams away, but they fare much better at home. So if you look at the regular season, and I just like looking at advanced stats at net rating, it's kind of an easy way to get a gauge of how good a team is. Sky are the 3rd. The Liberty are down at 8th with a negative net rating. But if you look at that as the home team, the Liberty are still lower. They're at 9th, but they're much better at home. So their net rating went from minus 3 to minus half. So about 3 points better in terms of net rating. Also, if you look at more recently, so the Liberty had a rough start to the year. If you look at how they perform more recently, so I have this filtered from June 1st to now, much more respectable net rating at 2.9. So they're positive, only 6th. They're about midway. They're about average in terms of WNBA teams. They also employ one of the best players in the WNBA, Sabrina Ionescu. So hard to fade her. But with that said, there is some value on the Sky at minus 6.5 if you are so inclined. For me, I found my best bet looking at the total, which is where I found the value. So again, depending on the look, the total is going to be priced a little bit differently. It ranges from 164.5 to 165.5. And to me, there is a huge value getting them to go under 165.5. You can bet this on BetMGM at minus 110. You can also bet it on WinBet at minus 110. But if you just compare to the spread, only 2 books are pricing this at 165.5. Every other book is pricing it lower. Caesars, BetOnline, another sharp bookmaker, PlayUp, price this at 165, a half point lower. PointsBet, FanDuel, Tipico, and then the OddsJam line price this a full point lower at 164.5. Another reason why I like this one, the OddsJam line at 164.5 is still favoring the under. So we see this under being priced at minus 109, the over being priced at minus 107. So they're still favoring the under at a full point lower than what we can get it at minus 110 odds on WinBet. This is how I have made how I have had so much success betting on the WNBA is just finding pricing discrepancies, not only in the odds themselves. The OddsJam line prices this under at -122. Again, we are getting it at -110, but from a totals or spread perspective as well. Every other book is pricing this total below this number, which tells me that MGM and WinBet just have this total mispriced. So getting it at -110 under 165.5, I do think is a really valuable bet. So to me, this is worth a full unit. I'm going to go ahead and put a unit on this one, $100 on this total going under. Let me reconfirm my location. Okay, let's try this again. Bet has been placed and we are good to go. So this is my official betting pick for tomorrow's game under 165.5. Let me now add this one to my bet tracker. I put $100 on this one. And it's also a positive EV play. So again, we see the OddsJam line price this at -122. The other side of it priced at +105. So if you go to the OddsJam calculators, you go to Novig Fair Odds Calculator, and you just type in both sides of the line. So it's +105, and the other side was -122. Puts the true line of this bet at about -112, rounding up to -113. And again, we got it all the way down at -110 on WinBet. So it's a mathematically profitable bet in terms of its positive EV just from the odds on the -165.5. It's also beating the closing line when you look at where every other book except for one is pricing this total at. So huge value here. I really like this play under 165.5, -110 odds. Looking at the history of these two teams, so the first game, insanely high scoring, 98-91. Only one team scored fewer than 20 points in any one given quarter. So there are 8 total quarters played by both teams. Only one of the 8 did a team score below 20 points. Huge difference in game 2. Chicago Sky put up 100 points, but the Liberty only got up 62. The highest they scored in a quarter was 18. Huge difference here. To me, there are 2 factors why I like this total going under in the next game, in game 3. Number 1, do or die games historically trend under the win totals. There are historically fewer points scored in do or die games than the rest of the regular season or playoffs. This is true for the NFL. This is true for the NBA. It's also true for the WNBA. So I think that this game being game 3, do or die, win or go home, I think will lead to fewer points. I also think that the total in game 1 was an outlier. Game 1s historically do trend a little bit higher, not as much as the do or die games trend under, but game 1s, teams are feeling each other out. They're not employing their best defensive strategies when the going gets tough. So game 1s trend higher. And I think that the game 2 trend in terms of the New York Liberty is more in line with what it's going to be. I'm not sure Chicago is going to put up 100 points again, but I do like this one to trend towards the under. So that is why that is my favorite betting pick for tomorrow. Sky versus Liberty under 165.5. Let me know your thoughts. If you're tailing, what you thought, of my analysis, what was good, what was bad, all that good stuff. Super helpful for me. Other than that, please remember to hit the like button, subscribe to the OddsJam YouTube channel, share with your friends, and that's all I got. So appreciate you guys watching, and have a good one.